Welcome. My name's Sam and this is The Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today. And can you believe it? We are already into December. So we are just doing a couple more Christmas cards because obviously we did the countdown to Christmas over October and November. So we're going to ease out of Christmas and ease into some everyday cards. But first of all, let's not forget Christmas. So we are looking at the Gingerbread Man. Now this originally made an appearance a couple of weeks ago when we made that fantastic bunting. And I just knew I had to return to this stamp set. So there are 15 images in this stamp set. 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them are sentiments. So you've got this fantastic gingerbread man. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 faces, curly hair, some gumdrops, some crumbs, a squiggle. I think that's it really. Oh, and his dots for his tummy. So we are going to also use the accompanying dies. Now this is an amazing die set. I'm just going to try and peel it off. There we go. It has everything you could possibly need. So you've got this wonderful outline of the gingerbread men, which is what we used for the bunting. You've also got gummy drops, you've got a cup, scarf, bow, 2 sets of gumdrops. You've got the cutout for the faces. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 eyes. You've got like a lollipop. You've got a wiggle here, which means you could cut off an arm or a leg as if it'd been eaten. What else have we got? We've got, oh no, so that's the wiggle in case it's been eaten. That's the wiggle that goes across the tummy. Here, which we're going to be using later on, is the walking stick. There's a hat, and there's some sweets. So there are loads of dies that come with the set. There are in total, she says, looking at the packet, 18 dies. So there's a lot that you can do with this. In fact, you could probably just buy, because you can actually get the faces to cut out, you could probably just buy, no, you would probably need, yeah, you could just get away with having just the dies if you didn't fancy the stamp set. But for me, it had to be both. So let's pop that back into its case in case I lose it. Oh, do you see what I did there? Right, okay, so we're going to make a card. Obviously this is for a younger person to give to mummy. I'm going to also create one now for daddy. So let's bring in the supplies. So as usual, we have a piece of our card base is measuring 8 inches by 5 3/4. I have a layering piece which is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, and then I have a white piece which is 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. So as not to waste paper, I have already run through this piece of paper through the cut and emboss machine and cut myself out. Where's it gone? Oh, there it is. I was thinking, hang on a minute, what have I done with it? To cut myself out the base of the sweet. Okay, so you're just going to need extras now. So that's the sweet base. I have used this die. Now you need to run this die twice through. So it cuts out like that. And it comes looking like, so I've run it through the white. I'm trying to pick it up. It runs through the white. And then run it through the red and you get the same. So you'll actually get 2 walking sticks or candy canes for your money by running it through twice. So it's up to you which one of those you use. Oh, I can pick them up. It'll be okay today. I'm all fingers this morning, all fingers. Right, there we go. Then I've got this little one, which I ran through in the white. That gives you this little wheel effect, which will go onto your sweet. And because it's daddy, I've also created a hat, but I've run it through twice just because I can then put a two-toned hat on daddy. And last but not by any means least, so I'm using this die. Now, bear with me, I can never remember what it's called. Mini alphabet dies. It's quite easy to remember, but for some reason I can't. And I've run it through the cut and emboss machine. But before I did, I put the gluey back on it so that when I pop it through, I can just push it out and it will glue. However, I have got 1D, which I'm going to use, which does not have the glue on it, but we'll master that one as we go. So let's put all the pieces over here and we can begin. Now, don't worry, at the bottom of my description, you will find all the supplies that are required for this card. You will find my shop where you can purchase them. So just go to the description and you will be able to get those in there. If you're looking at this on Facebook, you'll find it in my bio. Right, okay, so the first thing we need to do is to do our stamping. So I've got my big, huge gingerbread man, and I'm going to stamp him out in pecan pie. So let's just, because it's so big, you take the ink to the stamp. Make sure you've got everything covered. I think I have. And I'm just going to pop him onto there. I'm not going to put him straight. I suppose I could. No, I'm going to do wonky. Just quite like the idea of it being wonky. Pull that off. So there is our gingerbread man. Let's put that up there so it's out of my way. Then I need to bring in his face. Again, I'm going to use the pecan pie. I would normally put buttons on him, but because I am because I'm going to put a word, a sentiment across there, you won't see the buttons. However, I am going to give this one some hair. And I'm just going to put it there. I want you to see, because I'm going to put a hat on there, so we'll see how much hair we actually get to cover. I think that is it for the pecan pie. Now I have got some gumdrops and some crumbs, and I'm going to stamp those up in, let's think, let's do the gumdrops in red and the crumbs in yellow. So, don't need too many of these. 1, 2, let's do that. 3, so they're the gumdrops. So that's in Poppy Parade. And then Lemon Lolly for the crumbs. Right, 1, 2, 1, 2, let's put some up here. Let's put some here. 3. Right, okay. So that can now be layered onto, whoops, the back, oh, sorry, onto the front of this lemon lolly. So let's use our glue. And then the rest of the card is put together with all the accessories that we cut out, or I cut out earlier. Okay. Let's put that over the top. So I think the first thing we should do is put his name on. So let's bring those over. So I've got D, A, D. We can use the rest of those for something else. There we go. D, let's cross that one out. D, take out the A. It's a little middle here. Just going to poke it through. You might find, yeah, it's going to come out when I take the backing off. So I won't worry about that too much for a second. And then I've got the other D, which I don't seem to be able to pick up today. Let's bring my picker tool. There we go, look at that. And that also brings out the middle. Right, so I need to be that fairly straight. So I'm going to glue this one. I'm just going to put tiny bits of glue. Just bring it around. So if you don't have the double-sided tape, you can still stick this down with glue. It's not an issue. D goes there. And then what you do is you just peel this off the back, like so. And I'm going to work out roughly where it's going to go. That's... Oh! Stop. I didn't think it was that live. Yeah. And then the A can go in the middle. So let's peel that now. That's it. Still didn't bring that out, so I just poke it. There we go. And then the A goes in the middle of our D's. There we go. So now we've got Dad on. So let's add our accessories. So for his hat, I'm going to... You may not see all his hair, so I'm not going to worry too much. Yeah, so you're not going to see his hair, so that's fine. But I wasn't sure. Okay, so I'm going to... Let's put a white border on the hat. So what you do is you see this little line here. You can just go straight there and straight there. Okay, and then that will just sit on there like so. So let's just run a little bit of glue. These are holes, so you just want to make sure that your glue is just around the top and bottom. There we go. Let's pick you up. And that goes over the top. Like so. There we are, and then his hat fits on just like that. I'm liking this. Again, you just need to put a little bit of glue, not too much. You don't want it oozing across. And there's his hat. Put a tiny bit of glue seeping through there. Let's wipe that off. Right, now he wants to have his sweet in this hand. I'm going to put a, make sure I'm on camera for this, a little dot in the middle. Pick up my wheel and then just add that. Bring it around there. And then you're just going to do a little bit of glue on there. And then you can add his sweet. Now, let's give us our, I think I'm going to do red on white. And he can have his walking stick. All right, let's do that. So what I'm going to do, a little bit of glue on these. Again, if you wanted to and you've got the sticky sheets, you could do that. That would make it maybe a touch easier. But it's not that difficult when you're using the glue either. Right, and then he can be onto there like so. So let's just do a little bit of glue, not too much. Down. And the only thing I have forgotten, which I will need to go and get in a second, is the sentiment. Fancy doing that. It's a good job it's not too far away. Right, so this we can score at 4 inches, or you can fold at, score at 4 inches or fold in half with a bone folder. That can now go, be glued. Into place. Hold that. Let's get a sentiment. 2 seconds. Right, let's use this one. So I've grabbed this out of my stash. Thankfully my stash lives behind me. Right, so this measures 1/2 inch by 3 inches. So grab a piece of card, she says. We have got a bit here. It's always good to have scrap beside you. So I'm just going to, well, first of all, I'm going to put my folder the right way round. It's always a good look. Let's just cut that bit off for a second. Don't need that. Right, so I'm going to move it up to 1/2 inch. There we go. And then I need it to be 3 inches long. There we are. And we'll stamp it in the pecan pie. Now, obviously, I haven't used traditional Christmas colours for this, but you could. We get Merry Christmas. Look at that. Perfect. And I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals, and that will probably just go across there. Let's get my dimensionals. They're just here. One in the middle, on either end. There we go. Merry Christmas. Could have it up there? Yeah, why not? There we go. So thank you ever so much for joining me this afternoon. We have got 2 very cute cards now using the Gingerbread Man Stamp Set and dies. So do join me on Wednesday when I will be back with a second project. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Take care. Bye.